Welcome to Conversations in the Coop. I'm your host, Trinity Director of Athletics, Drew Galbraith. My pleasure to be joined today by Brooke Zurcher from Trinity's swimming and diving team. Brooke, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Brooke, we'll kind of talk about getting into swimming and then a little bit about the team now, but today's story is a little more about perseverance, and I'm excited to talk to you about that. But grew up in Indiana, and we don't have a lot of Trinity student athletes from Indiana. Have you met another Bantam from Indiana who's on one of our teams?
No, so I actually spoke with one of the admissions directors, and I'm the only one from the state of Indiana that goes to Trinity, so kind of a cool aspect. But
very cool, and a little bit surprising, but
yeah.
Carmel, Indiana, outside of Indianapolis, born there, raised there, and then at a young age had a chance to go abroad, which a lot of people don't have. So talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So when I was in first grade, my dad's job got transferred to Barcelona, Spain. We were able to spend a year there, and we were just able to travel like a lot of places across Europe, and it's a lot easier to travel when you're already over there. So I just got a lot of cool opportunities to see a lot of cool places, and especially we were at such a young age that it was just very easy to travel with no interferences with any activities or anything.
So when you get back to the U.S. and got into swimming at a pretty young age, was there ever another sport other than swimming that was attractive to you, or you thought about or tried for a little while?
Yeah, so I think I definitely tried like kiddie soccer and some other kind of recreational sports, but it's kind of a joke in my family that, you know, anytime we would ever finish like a soccer game or something, my younger sister and I would always ask when we could go back to the pool. So my parents kind of took that as a sign, as like swimming should maybe be our focus. So.
And so you had two parents who were swimmers in college at Evansville.
Yeah.
You and your younger sister get into swimming, and so this just becomes, I would imagine, a cadence in your family pretty early on. And then being in Carmel, you had an opportunity to be a part of a massive swim program that sends many people to college swimming. I'd imagine Olympics and Olympic trials as well. Mm-hmm. So just talk about growing up in that sort of really positive swim culture.
Yeah, absolutely. So the coaching staff at Carmel is amazing. They definitely foster a very positive environment and a very healthy and competitive environment as well, while focusing a lot on technique and making sure that, you know, as you're growing up with the program, that you're fostering, great technique. That's obviously extremely important in swimming because it's very easy to kind of, if you foster the wrong technique, and it's a lot easier for injuries to pop up and everything like that. Just growing up with an amazing program. Carmel Swim Club was an amazing experience, and then swimming a part of Carmel High School definitely was a very positive experience. We have a very long streak of winning the Indiana High School State Championship, and that was just amazing to be a part of. And I knew that, when it kind of came time to looking into colleges and stuff, I knew that I wanted to, still be a part of a strong swim program, and still kind of get in that competitive atmosphere.
So your high school experience was kind of curtailed by COVID. Right? So your junior year of high school, COVID happens that winter. So then it really, things are kind of almost like offline junior summer into senior fall. So I'd imagine that impacted recruiting season, but that's really when things went a little sideways for you health-wise. So how did this happen with some heart issues, and kind of talk us through that?
Yeah, sure. So, COVID hit March of my junior year of high school, and that kind of really is the prime time, like, where your championship meet is kind of the last time you get to show college coaches what you have, and just that our last meet was canceled, and, being in quarantine for a while and not being able to get back in the water until, I believe it was like June or July of 2020. I was able to finally get back in with social distancing and everything like that. But as a swimmer, generally, like, you have a pretty low resting heart rate. And before this, and like before COVID, my heart rate never really went above like 170, 180 beats per minute, and that was completely normal. But I noticed getting back into the water, that June and July, it would spike up to about like 220, 230, and it was a little scary because like my heart would just beat so fast, and I wasn't doing anything extraordinary or anything like that. So definitely was really scary. But so I was able to be connected with a cardiologist in Indiana, and we were ultimately able to figure out that this is called supraventricular tachycardia. So luckily mine was kind of only when I exercised, which I guess is a good thing for everyday life, but bad thing for someone wanting to obviously pursue swimming after high school.
Endurance athlete, yeah.
So ultimately, after getting that diagnosis, it was definitely, knowing what it is definitely was relieving, because it felt like my heart was just beating way too fast and there was no explanation for it. So my senior year of high school, I actually had 3 different procedures to have it fixed. Each time went in the first time and they found a problem within my heart with nerves and everything. I guess I don't know a ton of the specific medical information about it, but they went in and found there was a problem, and it was a very quick recovery, which was good. And then I was able to get back in the water, but about a week later, I noticed that my heart rate tended to spike up again, and similar symptoms had come back before the procedure. And that ended up happening 2 more times, which was definitely very frustrating. But
and were you able to swim in any meets your senior season?
So I was able to swim in a few high school meets, but I didn't swim in any club meets.
Right.
But I definitely kind of swam a little bit, not easier events, but not as long events.
Right.
Just not knowing what could happen with my heart and everything. Like there are ways that I figured out that doing breathing exercises and things like that could help calm my heart down, but obviously when you're in the middle of a race, you can't really do that.
Right.
So it just was it was just a lot going on. But
So as you're going through all of that, and you're still thinking about college and wanting to swim in college, and also just positioning yourself to go to a good school, and I'm curious, why skew towards East Coast? Obviously, mom and dad are Hoosiers, right?
Yeah.
They went to Evansville and
Yeah.
live in Indiana. Your sister was back home.
Yeah.
What made you take that leap and come east for college?
Yeah, sure. So I've had family that's lived up on the East Coast, just have random family everywhere, and I knew that I absolutely loved growing up in Indiana, and I loved all my experiences and everything like that. But I think especially after all of the things happened with my heart, I just wanted a new environment and a good change, and I just like the energy up here a lot. So that's why I focused my search kind of on the East Coast in particular.
And so, as you've kind of gone through all of these changes, kind of end of your senior year, you come out to Trinity and found a place. Okay, I like this.
Yeah.
This feels like a fit. Then talk about kind of coming out here. Did you experience some of that stress of, you're a first year student, you're away from home, and is some of the thing around the tachycardia still in the back of your head, almost in everything you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think especially after the 3rd procedure, I noticed that it obviously it was scary to kind of see if the chance of it coming back. Obviously, it's come back 3 times before, so that was always in the back of my mind. But I noticed when I moved into Trinity, I noticed that I was having similar symptoms, but it was different than what it had been before. So the past 3 experiences with SVT, it was only exercise induced. So I either would have to climb a couple flights of stairs, or I would be in the middle of practice or things of that nature. But I noticed after moving in that I would just be walking to class very leisurely and my heart rate would spike up, or I'd just be sitting in class, like not even taking a test or anything, and my heart rate would spike. So it definitely was just it was a lot more random this time. And I noticed, like, I started when swimming started back up, I noticed that I had a lot less mobility in my shoulders, and I just noticed that there was a little bit more pain, especially on my left side. Then there obviously is a lot of shoulder pain associated with swimming, just the overuse and everything like that. But this just felt like a little bit different than it had in the past. So it was definitely it was a little funky. I didn't really know what was going on, and obviously being away from home and everything like that, just kind of like definitely a different experience.
Sure.
and so I was able to, luckily when I went back home over the summer, and I was able to swim through, I would just do breathing exercises and my heart rate spiked during practice and things like that. But that kind of wasn't my concern, because I'd been swimming through certain heart problems before, but I was just really started to get a little bit concerned about my shoulder and just getting a lot of tightness up, and even like traveling up into my neck and everything like that. But yeah.
So then you've got to kind of move past what I would call maybe short term, like just kind of numbing the shoulder, into a whole nother diagnosis on top of the tachycardia, which was thoracic outlet syndrome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like one thing after another.
Yeah.
And your story to me is just one of kind of strength and perseverance, but talk about kind of mentally getting through that into a place of, hopefully now more a pain-free existence and less worry about some of the heart issues too.
Yeah, so I guess it really, I was able to swim through my freshman and sophomore year, but I noticed after NESCACs last year that like my just entire left side just started to kind of deteriorate. I couldn't move my neck very much. It just hurt too much to swim or even to just exercise in general. And especially with so thoracic outlet syndrome is like a nerve problem, and so I noticed that just like even if I wanted to like go for a walk or something, even though the main problem was in my shoulder, it's still like my legs were just everything was all out of sorts. So luckily I was connected with a doctor who kind of focuses specifically on thoracic outlet syndrome, and I had an amazing experience. He was very open to listening to like what my symptoms were and everything like that, because my presentation of thoracic outlet syndrome was very different than other people's. Most of the time, most people come in, they're like, yeah, my left shoulder hurts, and like if I put my arm over my head, my arm goes numb. But mine was more like my heart is what's really bothering me, and like my shoulder pain it's manageable, but
secondary to
that was my main concern. And then I came back I went home over the summer after my sophomore year, and I couldn't move my neck at all. I couldn't even drive because I couldn't look at my blind spot. Went to the doctor, and he was like, we're getting to a point where you're not able to even, live your life as like a normal human right now. So the decision of, so I guess one of the treatments for thoracic outlet syndrome is removing your first rib and your pec minor muscle. So June of 2023, I had a rib and my pec minor removed, and immediately waking up from surgery, I already felt better. I didn't realize like how stiff I was, and everything like that. But I guess I was able to. I did physical therapy for I believe 6 weeks after the surgery, and then was able to get back in the water 8 weeks out. And just the first practice, even though it wasn't definitely not my best practice I've ever had, but it just felt so much better. There's so much more mobility, and I was just able to grab more water, and something that I didn't even realize I missed that much. So.
What was that like? So that's probably like end of summer or mid to late summer, and did you effectively realize at that moment how much pain you've been walking around in for your first 2 years at Trinity, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. It was something that I slowly kind of got used to, but especially now that my nerves are a little bit more under control now, there are just things that I didn't even realize, like even like in the weight room and things like that, certain exercises that I was like, this doesn't feel right, but I'm just going along with it. Just being able to do a lot of things that I wasn't able to do as well before the surgery has definitely been like my best part about coming back.
Do you see, I know you had support from like some high school teammates who had similar types of surgeries. Do you see yourself now almost as a bit of an advocate for other students to like, listen to your body? Like don't just kind of push through, but listen to your body and kind of advocate for yourself in a way? Yeah,
absolutely. Especially on the swim team, there is a decent amount of just pain that comes along with the sport. But I think making sure that you are listening to yourself and listening to what your body needs, and obviously like no one wants to be sitting out of the water for a long time or anything like that. And that was one of the toughest parts for me. It was like as soon as I came back to Trinity, I still was on like slowly coming back into swimming. I couldn't just hop in and do a normal practice like everyone else. Like that definitely was frustrating. But just listening to what your body needs and like taking the proper steps to getting better is the way that you can make sure you swim the entire season, which is obviously the goal.
So what were it's a long way back, and it's hard to think about what what your body's been through the last several years. What were some of the motivators for you in, I still want to do this, I still want to be a college swimmer, and have my Trinity experience? I'm acknowledging that's really hard. So what were the things that motivated you to stay focused on the path and now be on the other side of it?
Yeah, so I guess just having such an amazing team atmosphere and everyone being so supportive of everything, I guess I can't imagine being at Trinity and not being on the swim team. It's one of those they both come together very well. So I knew that along with my teammates and the coaches and everything like that, I knew that I was supported by everyone, and no matter I'm going to be honest, I didn't know if I was going to be able to swim at all after the surgery. The doctor did warn me that this was a possibility, but since I wasn't even able to drive, I was like, this is something that has to be done.
Right.
But I knew that no matter what the process would be of me coming back, or even if I could come back or not, I knew that I had a very supportive team behind me, very supportive coaches, and just friends around Trinity as well, that if I wasn't able to come back, that they would support me through that. But since I have been able to come back to swimming, especially this season, I think my priority has just kind of been being that positive attitude for other people, and also just focusing a lot on the fact that I have had friends that have had the same condition and they haven't been able to swim the same or swim at all. So just really very much focusing on the positives of this entire experience has really been my priority.
Well, and plenty of positives in the pool this year as well. The women's team winning Connecticut Cup earlier this year for the first time in a while, and you have the opportunity to be an influence as an upper class student now, be an influence on our younger members of our program. Just talk about you come back to this and how much you're getting from it, but now you're able to give as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first year class that we have, they are all such positive people, and they all bring such a good energy to the pool deck. And especially winning Connecticut Cup, I think, has been the highlight of my season so far. Just as they were announcing the scores and just slowly hearing that, beating, I don't think we've ever beat the Coast Guard before, so that was something we all got so fired up about it. And I think our reaction to winning, I don't think is something I'll ever forget. And just having such positive people just being surrounded. I think especially approaching NESCACs, I think is something that I think we're all just really excited to see how we all perform. And obviously just having a lot of fresh new swimmers that they're also all very excited for this upcoming meet, I think is something that's motivating me to even have an even more positive attitude.
So just for people who aren't familiar with swimming, it's a long grind, a lot of double days throughout the year, and you kind of crescendo to a few weeks before championships and then start easing back. So just to give someone some perspective, what's kind of a heavy training load, let's say in late January versus now in the week or two leading up to championships, how it scales back?
Yeah, sure. So I guess a normal training schedule, when we came back from our training trip, so I'm a member of the distance group, focusing on longer races and things of that nature. So I would have 3 2-a-days. We're in the water twice a day, swimming about 5,000 to 6,000 yards, each practice. Usually reaching about 10,000 yards a day, and then in between those double days, we would have once-a-days where those were usually about 6,000 yards. And then we usually would have a Saturday morning practice that would be pretty long as well. But now that we're tapering off into our like championship season, now I had my last morning practice yesterday morning, which was very difficult, but still very nice. That now we're a week out from NESCACs now, and we will only have afternoon workouts, which is really nice. And then the yardage will go down a lot. So I think, I guess, for as a distance swimmer, like we'll swim 4,000 yards for the first couple of days and then drop down to 3,000. We obviously don't want to go too low because
have to maintain fitness. Yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the races I'm swimming at NESCACs is the mile, which is 16:50, and so if you're swimming below that, that's not going to be much help. So, yeah.
So obviously, it's an exciting meet for everyone, right?
Yeah.
It's the pinnacle of the year. Do you think you'll feel something maybe extra special this year, being at NESCACs with everything you've been through?
Yeah, absolutely. I just one thing that I've kind of gotten the practice out of is anytime that I'm, if I'm a little frustrated on where my times are or anything like that, just remembering that, like, not only myself but like the team has been resilient this season, and that it's been a long process, but even just being here is an accomplishment, and just really focusing on that, I think, has been my focus, especially like approaching these last couple of weeks. Yeah.
And at Trinity, majoring in public policy and law, do you have a sense of the type of work you might want to do afterwards? Because it's a pretty broad, and there's lots of people who say that the country's government needs fixing. So where within that public policy law sphere do you see yourself headed?
Yeah, sure. So I'm also minoring in formal organizations, so I'm not entirely sure if I want to kind of pursue the law route or the business route yet. But yeah, I guess I love just kind of like data mining and organizing different Excels and things of that nature. So I'm not sure if I'm not entirely sure what I want to do yet, but just slowly kind of figuring it out and doing some research and just seeing what's out there.
And I know that travel is one of your passions as well. So give us a couple of like your best places ever, and maybe one place that you don't ever have to go back to.
Yeah, so I guess the favorite place that my family and I have been is definitely Croatia. We were able to visit Split and Dubrovnik there, and it's beautiful, just crystal clear waters, and did some great snorkeling and stuff there. And then I don't know if I have a least favorite place. I don't know. I don't think I've had a bad experience anywhere.
Is there some place that's on your list that you haven't gone to yet that's a priority for you?
I definitely, I think Singapore is on my list. I definitely really want to go there. That's the top of my family's list. There, and Dubai, I think, are the two places I really want to visit. Yeah.
Well, Brooke, we'll be rooting for you and your teammates at NESCACs, and certainly congratulations again on everything you've accomplished to this point, and excited to see everything you continue to accomplish at Trinity.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. That'll do it for this conversation with the Coop. For all the latest news, scores, and schedules, go to bantamsports.com. Follow us on social at Bantam Sports. Until next time.